do not oppress him. And as for him who asks, do not chide him. And as for the favor of your Lord, do announce it. Salawat.
Can we get another last salawat for the abusive recitation and the English translation? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. We're going to be starting the speech now, inshallah. Can I ask the brothers in the back to please come forward and sit here in front of the chairs so we can create more of a majlis environment. Please, you guys can come forward now. Really appreciate it. The program for this weekend, we'll have program tonight and tomorrow. Also another reminder that tomorrow is the Peace Walk. It's in San Francisco. It starts at 10 a.m. at Civic Center. I do encourage everyone to attend. Really would appreciate it, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we're blessed to have Maulana Sayyid Samir here. He grew up in New Jersey, and after his undergraduate degree, he studied in Qom and Sham. After completing his studies at Stanford, his graduate studies at Stanford, he's currently serving as an alim and chaplain in Wisconsin. His interests are building interfaith connections and providing outreach. Please help me invite him all with a loud salawat.
Perfect. That's perfect. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please recite one Surah Al-Fatiha, 3 times Surah Al-Ikhlas for all the marhumin, marhumat, inshaAllah. أفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعمه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الهمم ولا يناله غوص الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت معدود ولا أجل ممدود فطر الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووطد بالصخور ميدان أرضه ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي القرشي الحاشي المكي المدني سيدنا ومولانا وطبيب قلوبنا وشفيء ذنوبنا بالقاسم محمد وعلى آله لبيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الميامين المنتجبين لا سيما بقية الله الأعظم في الأرضين أرواحنا وأرواح العالمين لمقتمه الفداء واللعنة دائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري مؤمنين المؤمنات السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your amal. During these days of mourning for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, next week inshallah is the weekend of Arba'in. And these are very important days that we gather. The energy of Muharram is spread out across these weekends and across these days. And what we gain in Muharram and Safar and Ayyam Aza and the days of mourning of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein is really precious. And there can be no comparison to other things when we gain the knowledge and the spirituality and the strength and the sense of community, mashallah, when we gather here together at every opportunity that we get. Risala salawat, please. There are many aspects of the Aza and mourning of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. There are many different things that we benefit from, and when Muharram and Safar are over, when we think, oh, these things used to happen in Muharram and Safar, we used to have these opportunities. Some of the things that we get, for example, a simple benefit of Muharram and Safar is the Salat bil Jama'ah. When you come here, we are able to pray together. Mashallah, Maulana is here. And I actually wasn't able to reach in time for the prayer, but that is a great benefit that we have. That's a simple benefit. The other benefit is we have some opportunity to gain knowledge and to discuss with each other. The third benefit is we get to talk with each other, mashallah, and so on. There are two kinds of benefits in these days. One of them is the benefit to ourselves and our community. And the second benefit that we should be involved in, and mashallah, you are involved in, I just want to bring your attention to this, is benefiting other people. Is going outside of our comfort zone, going outside of our familiar faces, going outside of our community, and trying to help spread the message of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and bring the awareness about Imam Hussein and Islam to other people. For example, many people on social media, they constantly post about Arba'in. As you know, Arba'in is one of the largest gatherings of human beings in the world every single year. How many people? 20, 25 million, 30 people, 30 million people? That's how many people are able to go from different parts of the world, almost every single country, and they travel to Iraq, they stay over there, they make the walk of all those miles and kilometers, those 3 days, right? It's 3 days? MashaAllah, many of you have done that. Some of you are gone over there from this community to do it. And inshallah, may Allah give us tawfiq to go in Arba'in to visit Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. When people go there, these people, the mu'mineen on social media, they share this. They say, look, this is one of the largest gatherings. This is one of the largest things that people from all over the world come. And why are they coming to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? Why are they traveling? You can talk about it. The second thing that you can do, my brothers and sisters, not just share and like and be happy, because we share and like and we stop. We say, I did my job, that's it. But you are asked to do more. Imam Hussein is calling you to do more. The Imam is asking you to do a little bit more than just share and like. What can you do? You can go and give some of the backpacks to the needy. What we did in my city, the city I live in, which is much colder than here. Hopefully I can take some sunshine back with me. Some of you know how cold that city is. So there we were able to gather the mu'mineen, and at the beginning of Muharram al-Haram, we gave 100 backpacks in the name of Imam Hussein to the needy children of one of the schools. Each backpack, it had the name of Imam Hussein on it. We called the school, we said we want to give, they said this is how much it is. You make the backpacks with supplies that the children need, with the pens, pencils, folders, notebooks. We organized that and we gave it to those needy. Now each day that each one of the 100 children has that backpack, on that backpack it says the name of Imam Hussein. Every single day that child is going to go, he or she is going to know the name of Imam Hussein. That is all you have to do. But more than just the social media, you're doing something tangible. You're doing something in the hands of people. Second thing is, we are able to organize a food drive and give food to the people. We are able to organize each month. We are trying to do something. We are organizing a clothing drive because the winters, mashallah, they're, very cold. So some warm clothes we are giving to people, blood drive, and so on and so on and so on. So these small things, mashallah, I know you have done it here and you continue to do it. I'm just bringing your attention toward it. These kind of things, when people receive them, they say, okay, this is in the name of Islam, this is the name of Imam Hussein. They begin to think. They begin to think. Your goal in the days of Aza is to receive something from Imam Hussein, is to receive something from Ahlul Bayt, which can benefit you for the rest of the year, for the rest of your life. More than the food, more than the prayer, it has to be something that makes you think, something that lasts a long time. Something that is a gift that is with you for a long time. Once we had this march for Imam Hussein in my city, just this few weeks ago. I was able to invite one of my friends. He's a pastor. He's a Christian pastor in the church, in the Lutheran church. He was kind enough to come. When he came, he spoke about Imam Hussein. And he spoke about justice, and he spoke about martyrdom, and he spoke about sacrifice. He said, as a Christian, this is what I believe. And he said, as a Christian, I admire Imam Hussein for his sacrifice. Okay? He said this to all the people, 150 people that were gathered there. But he turned around and he asked me a question, which is making me think on how to put forward the image of Imam Hussein, on how we think about Imam Hussein. And I thank my pastor friend for asking me that question. He said, Samir, you talk about Imam Hussein. Is the name of Hussein mentioned in the Quran? Is the position of Hussein in the Quran? Because we believe everything from the Bible. For him, it's only the Bible. He's Lutheran, so he's not going to go after the saints like the Catholics. He's only going to believe in the Bible. If the Bible says it, yes. So he said, for us, we have the Bible. And for you, you have the Quran. So Hussein must be in the Quran. What is relationship of Hussein and the Quran? And you know what? When he asked that question, I do not have an answer. I do not have an answer for him. Because I said, no, the name of Hussein is not mentioned explicitly in the Quran. The Quran doesn't say the word Hussein. The Quran refers to Imam Hussein, but doesn't say the word Hussein. So he said, how is that possible? He's so important to you. How is that possible? I said, Tony, wait. I have to explain this answer to you. I have to give me some more time. I have to explain to you the history of Revelation, the history of Quran, what is the mention of Imam Hussein, what are the verses with Imam Hussein, how is the life of Imam Hussein described in the Quran. He made me go and do my homework so that I can answer this question that he asked me. So the question that we will try to answer today, for today, my brothers and sisters, we start a salawat, please. Is the relationship of Imam Hussein alayhi salam to the Quran, the relationship of Imam Hussein to the Quran, and how are we going to benefit from it? Because again, the point of Muharram is to receive something from Imam Hussein, from Ahlul Bayt, which will benefit us for the rest of the year and for the rest of our life. To answer the question that my friend Tony asked, is that when you look at the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he is born in the blessed city of Medina. And in this city of Madinatul Munawwara, when he's born in the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there are 32 surahs Thank you. Which are revealed in Medina. Those surahs are revealed as Imam Hussein is born in the year 3 Hijrah in Medina. Those surahs continue to be revealed to Rasulullah as Imam Hussein is going from being a newborn to a baby, from being a baby to a toddler, going from toddler to being a child. And imagine if there's a child in the house and that child is constantly seeing his family or her family do something, right? What is going to happen? That child is going to take the effects of that activity. That child is going to. That's why they say that when the child is born, put the Quran in the room or play the Quran for the child. The same way we see that as a child, Imam Hussein consistently is growing up with the Quran, is being raised with the Quran. He can hear it, he can see that his grandfather is there and he's receiving the revelation from Jibreel. He can see that the surahs and the ayat are repeated again and again by his blessed parents, by his grandfather, by his brother, by his family members. This is the environment that Imam Hussein is growing up in, which is the environment of the Quran completely. The Imam is maybe 4 or 5 years old. In one of the traditions of Hadith, we see that a 4 or 5-year-old child is playing outside, is standing outside the Masjid of Rasulullah in Medina. And recite salawat, please, for the children that came. He's playing outside. While he's playing outside, a man comes from a different place. And this man is a Badu, this man is a Bedouin, this man does not have the manners and the behavior of the people of Medina or Makkah. He's very rough. He comes and he sees the little child playing. And then he asks the child, he says, "Child, what is your name?" Imam Hussein says, "My name is Hussein." Then he says, "Do you know where Muhammad is? Do you know where this man Muhammad is? I want to find him because..." Why? "Because I heard him, he brought this religion. I've heard him, he's breaking our idols. I heard that he wants to bring us to Tawheed, one God. I heard he wants to destroy the ways of our fathers." Very carefully in this event, there is some traditions that the people were doing, and Rasulullah was trying to change those traditions to bring them back to Islam, correct? When this man began saying these negative things and began to curse the Prophet of Allah, Imam Hussein did not stop him. Imam Hussein did not answer him. Imam Hussein did not correct him. Imam Hussein didn't say, "Hey you, this is my grandfather. How dare you talk about him like that? Hey you, this is a Rasul of Allah. How dare you talk about him like that?" No. Imam Hussein stood patiently. When this man finished cursing and talking about Rasulullah with all the negative ideas that he had, with all the propaganda that he had, the young child who's 4, 5 years old, he read one ayah of the Quran. He looked at the man and he read one verse of that Quran. When he read the one verse of that Quran, that man stopped. And the man's attitude changed. The man's thinking changed. The man's surprise grew. He became very surprised. Imam Hussein looked at that man and he said, "Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'an innahu huwa ghafurur rahim." He says, surely Allah forgives all sins because Allah is the one who has mercy. And Allah is the one who forgives. Ghafur, He often forgives. Not that He forgives once, but He keeps forgiving. This is one ayah of the Quran, a small ayah of the Quran that Imam Hussein alayhi salam recited salawat, please. Recited for this man. In this story, there's a good example for us. What is the reaction of that man? The man says, I am a Bedouin. I am coming with my Arabic language. I am coming with my culture of Jahiliyyah. I am coming with my Arabic culture. And this young boy, who I do not expect to answer me in this way, has read something, has said something, which has stopped me from saying what I wanted to say, and has made me think. It has given him a gift. And that man realized completely what Imam Hussein was saying, why Imam Hussein was saying, and what the relationship of Imam Hussein to Rasulullah was. The man said, where did you hear this? Where did you hear this? Because this is not how I expect you to answer me. You're 4 or 5 years old. He says, these are the words of Allah. These are the words of Allah. He did not say, my grandfather taught me. He did not say, I heard my father Ali say. He did not say, I heard my mother Fatima say. He said, these are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the 4 or 5-year-old boy is connecting this grown man with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly through the Quran. Through the Quran directly. He said, these are the words of Allah. Know who Allah is. Know who Allah is, because if you do not know who Allah is, then you are not able to know who is Prophet is. Allahumma arifni nafsak. Oh Allah, introduce me to yourself so that I know your Prophet. So the man said, okay, you are telling me about this Allah will forgive? Imam Hussein said, yes, Allah will forgive all the sins, including your sin of insulting his Prophet. Then the man continued this conversation with Imam Hussein. Who is Rasulullah? Yani Imam Hussein is giving him a dars. Imam Hussein is giving him a lesson. And if you can just imagine with your mind, this 4 or 5-year-old boy standing in the outside of the masjid in Medina, talking to this man and giving him this lesson again and again. This is the example for our young people, my brothers and sisters. Those children that are here, that they need to know the Quran. And I don't mean just repeating the Quran. There's a difference. When you have a child who is 4, 5, 6 years old, they're able to absorb and repeat very quickly, right? They're able to learn and repeat very quickly. Big words your children will use, and you will be surprised, where did they hear these words? If you play the Quran every night like you should when they go to sleep, if you make them memorize the surahs of the Quran, they will very quickly, easily, even easier than you, they will know the Quran. This is good. This is very good. But there's another aspect. Some of the ulama have told us that when you sit and eat, for example, when you sit and you eat, recite the verses of the Quran that are about food. Okay? Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. Eat and drink and do not waste. This is a verse which you recite when you sit and eat the food. So when your child, mashallah, you have a young community, a big community, a growing community, may Allah preserve the young children. Recite salawat for them, please. That the children, they know this ayah, and they know that this ayah is for the food. When the time of Adhan comes, and the child is seeing his parents or her parents, that the azan goes off in the house, Allahu Akbar, that it's time to pray, everyone does wudu and prays together. What is the verse? وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, for example. إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. These are the verses that have to do with your everyday life. My brothers and sisters, the Quran was revealed for our everyday life and our everyday activity. When people come and talk about the Quran is talking about war and all this, only a small part of the Quran. Most of the Quran has to do with everyday life. Living, eating, sleeping, changing clothes, buying and selling, taking a loan. These are things you and I do every single day. The Quran is very simple. It's very mundane. It talks about clothes. It talks about food. It talks about sleep. It talks about marriage. It talks about inheritance. Everything that you do and you need every single day. And when you have these ayat, these verses, and the children, they know it, it is better and best for their development. That they're 6, 7, 8 years old, and they know, just like they know the songs and the nursery rhymes for school, they know these ayat, and they know these. And if we have these small children, mashallah, in our homes, we should be aware, and we have a responsibility as family members, as parents, as community members, to inshallah teach them and to give them this gift which can last outside of Muharram and for the rest of their lives. Recite a salawat, please. Another salawat, please. Come back to Imam Hussein. Again, our discussion is answering the question of this pastor who said, what is the relationship between Imam Hussein and Quran? So as a child, we see Imam Hussein doing this. Imam Hussein is maybe 20 years old. He's a teenager. 18, 19, 20 years old. And he's again in Medina. This time, there's another aspect of Imam Hussein's personality which is attached to the Quran. Or rather, Imam Hussein as Quran Natiq, as the speaking Quran, he is showing us another aspect of how to talk about the Quran. The second Khalifa is sitting on the mimbar, and Imam Hussein is present there with Amir al-Mu'mineen, with Imam Hassan, and he is sitting, listening to the second Khalifa sit on the mimbar and talk about something and give a certain ruling from the Quran. Someone asked the Khalifa a question, and the second Khalifa, he gave an answer. Okay? Imam Hussein is sitting. When the second Khalifa gave this answer, there was a reaction from Imam Hussein. Imam Ali did not say anything. Imam al-Hasan did not say anything. Imam Hussein was the one who stood up. Imam Hussein was the one who got up. What did he say? He says, get down from the mimbar. Anzil ayyuhal kadhab. Get down from the mimbar. That, he says, get down from the mimbar. Get down from the mimbar of my father Rasulullah. Anzil min mimbar abi Rasulullah la mimbar abik. He says, come down from the mimbar of my father Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam. La mimbar abik. It is not the mimbar of your father, meaning you did not inherit. Why is he saying this? Why is Imam Hussein saying it is not the mimbar of your father? Everyone knows it is not the mimbar of the father of Umar. But why is it this important? Because Imam Hussein is showing us, to answer the question of our friend the pastor, Imam Hussein is telling us that the knowledge of the Quran comes by inheritance. One of the ways in which the Imam receives the knowledge is by inheritance. Because he has to be from the Banu Hashim. This is our aqidah. That the Imam received knowledge from father to son. From father to son. And Imam Hussein says, "This was sirta, you became al-hakim alayhim bi kitabi nazala fihim la ta'rifa mu'jamahu wa la tadri ta'wilahu." He says, you are ruling over a people through the book of Allah, by the book of Allah, with the book of Allah. Yani you claim to know the book of Allah, wa la ta'rif mu'jamahu. You do not know its meaning. وَلَا تَدْرِي تَعْوِيلَهُ. You do not know what the Quran is talking about. These are the words of Imam Hussein to the second Khalifa. He says, you became a ruler, and a Khalifa should know the Quran, right? The Khalifa should have knowledge, not power. Ahlul Bayt say that the Hakim should have knowledge. Other people say that the ruler should have power. Because the ruler has power, we would bow down to the ruler. Ahlul Bayt reject this idea. They say no. They say the ruler should have knowledge. And that knowledge should come from Allah, not from himself. That is why the leader has to be ma'soom and so on and so on. It makes sense for us. So Imam Hussein, as a young man, teenager, maybe in his 20s, he is challenging that person who's in power. This is another example of the relationship. We're answering the question, remember, between Imam Hussein and the Quran. That when Imam Hussein makes an objection to this ruler, he says, you are disregarding the book of Allah. You are neglecting the Quran. And you are claiming to know the Quran, and you are claiming to, this is an ihtijaj of Tabarsi, this incident I mentioned. You are claiming to rule from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while you do not know it. While you have no idea about its revelation, you have no idea about its meaning, you have no idea about its ta'wil, but you are just giving this hukum to people. Why are you doing this? And if you are doing this, then you do not deserve to sit on this mimbar, because this mimbar belongs to somebody who knows the Quran, who has the Quran with him, who carries the Quran with him, who himself is the Quran natiq, the speaking Quran, who is either the Prophet of Allah or the appointed by Allah successor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You see, my brothers and sisters, this is the relationship between, not the child. You saw the relationship between the child Imam Hussein and the Quran. This is the relationship between the young man Imam Hussein and the Quran. That's the relationship. So let us pause here and look at our teenagers, the boys and the girls, the brothers and the sisters. What is their relationship to the Quran? What is their connection to the Quran? Now, because as a child we have passed the stage of knowing the verses about our everyday life, now the Quran has to be a call toward the truth. The Quran has to be something that is calling us toward the haqq. The Quran has to be something that is inviting us to follow and obey the rightful persons. Correct? Very easy for you to pull up Quran on this. Very easy for you to read the Quran on the phones that is with you. But let me ask you this question. This is a hard question. This is an uncomfortable question. This is a tough question, my young brothers sitting here and my young sisters. How many of us really have the Quran, read the Quran, follow the Quran in the way that it deserves our attention? Because there are two people. There's a competition. The Quran has competition. When you are young, you have no competition with the Quran. Because you're listening to your parents, you have no option. They give you the Quran, that's it. But when you are a teenager, you have options. You have options. Because when you have this phone, and you have in school, in high school, in middle school, in college, you have this idol. You have this idol worship, which are the celebrities that we see today. MashaAllah, you live in California, which is the land of celebrities. And what happens? Our young people, here or in any other country in the world, they get attracted by this celebrity culture. What did this musician do? What did this celebrity do? What did this athlete do? Who got married to whom? Who died because of drug overdose? Who went and did nothing? Who went and talked about climate change and then got on his jet plane and burned all the fuel? Hypocrisy, yani. This is what they are following and this is what they are seeing. I'm not talking about sports. Sports is good. Sports is healthy. But musicians, celebrities, actors, entertainers, It's a huge distraction, not an attraction, but it's a huge distraction for them. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And what happens when they have this attraction, this distraction? It takes them away from spending time with the Quran. It takes them away from spending time with their family. It takes them away. When you tell them the story of Nabi Lut or Nabi Ibrahim, they said, these are all stories. We don't want to hear this. Tell about something we can follow on Instagram. That's what we care about. I cannot follow Nabi Lut on Instagram. So what's the point? This is the thinking. Because this is the attraction in their phones, in their social media. This is what brings them and pulls them. So you and I, as a community, I don't mean this is only the responsibility of the parents. I don't mean this is only responsibility of our center and each other. This is our, وَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. All of us together have the responsibility to really think that all of Muharram and Safar we say Ya Hussein and we cry. But when Arba'in comes, or when the Rabiul Awal is there, we say, okay, Imam Hussein, Al-Wida, finish. Thank you. See you next year. We're done. Now time to turn on the TV, time to turn everything else on and get back to our normal. This is not correct. This is not right, my brothers and sisters. This kind of behavior with Imam Hussein is not the kind of behavior that Imam Hussein is expecting, or the kind of behavior that we should have. That all year we should have some kind of reminder. And for the families, I encourage you to sit with your youth, with your teenagers. 1 hour a week. Read the Quran if you can. No, read the Quran and you can. Talk about the figures and the struggles in the Quran that we see that Nabi Sulaiman is going through, Nabi Shu'aib is going through, Rasulullah is going through in the Quran. The Ahlul Bayt are mentioned in the Quran, and the things that they did in Surah Al-Insan, for example, that they are feeding the hungry, they are feeding the needy, they are feeding the orphans, they are feeding the prisoner. These are all examples for us for our everyday. If we don't take the Quran and connect it with our everyday life, the teenagers will forget it. And once the teenagers forget it, it is very hard because they get caught up in college, in their work, in their professions. It's very hard for them to come back to it. It just becomes something they learned a long time ago when they were young, and it's done. No. You see the example in the relationship between Imam Hussein and the Quran, and the example in the relationship between the youth and the teenagers in the Quran is extremely, I think this is the most important thing for us to follow. Risala salawat, please. Another salawat, please. The second thing I will say about those who are discovering their careers, those who are, mashallah, in good universities or studying, is that the Quran also contains information. The Quran also contains knowledge, which the Ahlul Bayt and the Imams have told us about the things that you are going through today. You live in the world of technology, correct? This is the center of technology of the world, correct here? Yes? I live in the center of cheese, and this is the center of technology. So the center of technology is, you look at the Quran and you say, Maulana, where is the technology mentioned in the Quran? Technology is mentioned in the Quran. Where is the science mentioned in the Quran? Science is mentioned in the Quran. Before you start pointing fingers, open and go and look where these things are mentioned that our Imams have told us about. The Imams have pointed us toward in that direction. We see that when it comes to science, for example, let's start with science. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Anbiya says that the earth and the sky were woven ratqan, were woven together, فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا, we opened them up. Allah says, we opened up the earth and the sky. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ Hey, Allah says, I have made everything alive with water. Meaning, wherever you want to look for signs of life, look for water. Is mentioned in the Quran. For example. The psychology is mentioned in the Quran. The nature of the human being. Inna al-insana kana ajula is mentioned. The human being is hasty or quick to make decisions because he or she only thinks about survival and benefit. Is mentioned in the Quran. Psychology is mentioned in the Quran. Where is it? You have to go and discover. And as Imam Hussein got older, as Imam Hussein reached the age closer to his age of 57 years when he was Shaheed in Karbala, he trained people, be that Burair, be that Abis or other people who were trained, who were Qurra, who were the reciters of the Quran. His companions were people who knew the Quran. The men and the women, knew the Quran in and out. And he kept teaching them in Medina the meaning of the Quran and the secrets of the Quran. That is what his message was. So when we look at science, we look at some of these ayat in the Quran and we draw inspiration from them. Where is technology mentioned in the Quran? Let us go to the life of Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam. Nabi Sulaiman is going the distance of hundreds of miles in one moment. How is he able to do that? You know the story of Nabi Sulaiman, right? He's sitting there and a bird comes, Hudhud comes and tells him that I saw that there's this person, Bilqis, and they have a arsh, she has a throne, and they worship Allah. Nabi Sulaiman says, okay, somebody, in today's language, transport that throne to me. Transport that throne to me. So one creature, he says, I will give it to you before you stand up from your seat. And if I'm sitting here, how long does it take for me to stand up? Maybe 1 second, right? 1 second. So one person says, I can bring you that from hundreds of miles away in 1 second. This is a technological problem. This problem of moving large objects across long distances in a small amount of time is exactly what technology wants to solve. Right? So Nabi Sulaiman said, okay, you can do that. Another person, he says, I can do it even before you blink. So his technological invention is better than the technological invention of the Ifrit who's there. He says, not even a second, I can do it in a nanosecond, millisecond, whatever they're doing. And he does, before Nabi Sulaiman is able to blink, he has ilmun min al-kitab, he has some knowledge of the book. He brings this throne from Yemen, from far away, right to Nabi Sulaiman. This is a technological thing that they did. This is mentioned in the Quran again. You say, Maulana, where's science and technology? You go and look in the Quran, you will find inspiration for your science and your technology. And these are things, my brothers and sisters, we need all year round. These are not things that we only have Muharram, and when Arba'een and Rabiul Awwal finish, we say, okay, we're done. No, this is for our whole career, for our life, for the field that we want to live in and we want to study in. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam, recite a salawat, please. Is calling us and inspiring us throughout his life with all his companions toward the Quran, toward the calling of the Quran. What was the difference between those people who were on one side, 20,000, 30,000 people? They had food, they had water, they had weapons. When the azan came, they gave the azan. When the time came to recite Quran, they recited Quran. So they are Muslim like you and me, but they are on one side. Correct? On this side, there's a small group of people, 120, men and women, everyone included, 118 actually. They are on one side. They are doing the same exact thing that these people are doing. The camp of Imam Hussein is doing the same exact thing these people are doing. When the adhan of Zuhr, Asr and Fajr comes, they pray. When the time to recite Quran comes, they recite Quran. So for me, if I'm looking from outside as a historian, I say Muslims are fighting Muslims. Again, my friend the pastor is asking me this question. He said, Samir, I don't understand this history. It is not like Hussein was attacked by Christians. It is not like Hussein was attacked by Jews. It is not like Hussein was attacked by Hindus. It is not like Hussein was attacked by non-Muslims or mushrikeen. Like the battle of Badr or Uhud was against non-Muslims, correct? But Karbala it doesn't make any sense for this non-Muslim to think. He said, what's going on over here? What's going on over here? There are big differences between them. But one of the differences when it comes to the Quran is that the understanding and the practice and the revelation of the Quran was in one house, was in the house of Ahlul Bayt, was in the house of Hussein. That he himself, from his childhood to his teenage, to his old age, where he became Shaheed, his relationship with the Quran, his connection to the Quran, his teaching of the Quran was very different from the connection of the Quran of Yazid and his forces. That is the real solution. That when you look at Yazid and the life of Banu Umayyah, there is no Quran to be found. It's only lip service. It's only lip service. Banu Umayyah, did they reject Islam? No, they accepted Islam on the outside. But did they know the meaning of the Quran? No. Did they practice the Quran? No. Did they recite the Quran? Did they respect the Quran? No. Did they follow the ahkam of the Quran? They did not. Everything else was like Muslims. Everything else, they are praying, they are fasting, they are... But you have to look a little bit closer and say, hold on a second. What the Quran is actually saying, this Quran that I look at, it's saying, do all these things. Imam Hussein and his camp are doing it. These people are not doing it. These people are just pretending. From the outside, it looks the same, Muslim versus Muslim. But when you look a little bit deeper and you judge according to Quran, you said in Yazid's house, there's alcohol. In Yazid's house, there are haram things. In Banu Umayyah, there's cruelty and oppression and dhulm. All the things that the Quran forbids, it is over there. On the outside, it is Islam. Imam Hussein is very different. On the outside, from a perspective of my friend the pastor, it looks the same. But when you go inside to the house of the Ahlul Bayt, you say no. The Quran is revealed for them and their actions are for the Quran. So we have to discover the Quran, not just uncover the Quran. Easy to uncover the Quran, but it's more difficult to discover the Quran. We have to discover the Quran the way in which Imam Hussein and his companions have asked us and inspired us to discover this Quran. So to bring the question of my friend to its conclusion, he said, Imam Hussein was with the Quran, Imam Hussein was the speaking Quran, Imam Hussein was the living Quran. It was revealed in his house and he grew up with it, and it is very possible for us here living today in 2019, almost 2020, with all the challenges and the pressures of our life, to be inspired by the Quran, to have the true acting upon the Quran in our homes and in our communities, the way in which Imam Hussein and his companions had. And we have to look at the other side who fought Imam Hussein and said, we should not be like that. That is what tabarra is. To be like, no, we cannot be like those people. Because they pretended to recite, but they did not know the meaning. They pretended to follow, but when they knew that following the Quran means something, they rejected it. That really, my brothers and sisters, is the difference between one camp and the other. That really is the inspiration that we see from Imam Hussein and his connection to the Quran. Recite salawat, please. We come now to the commemoration of the tragedies of Karbala that fell upon the Ahlul Bayt and the members of the household of the Prophet of Allah. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibna Rasulillah. Alaykum minna jami'an salamullah. أبدا ما بقينا وبقي الليل والنهار. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Peace be upon you, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Peace be upon you, grandson of Rasulullah. Peace be upon you, O son of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Peace be upon you, O light of the eyes of Fatima az-Zahra. Peace be upon you, O brother of Imam al-Hasan. Peace be upon you, O safety and security of Sayyida Zainab. Peace be upon you, O commander of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Peace be upon you, O chief of all the martyrs. My brothers and sisters, let us travel to the land of Karbala after the tragedy on the day of Ashura. We see that the family of Rasulullah, we see that the family of Imam Hussein are not given any respect, but they are made into prisoners. They are not given flowers and welcomed by the people of Kufa, but they are given chains and they are made prisoners and they are made to travel from Karbala to Kufa, from Kufa then to Damascus. And this is this journey that we will make with them today. We see that Imam Zain al-Abidin is not able to raise his hands to make dua. He sees that the children of Imam Hussein are sick. He sees that Sayyida Zainab is struggling to help all those who are made prisoners. He sees that it is difficult for them to ride on the camels without any protection from the sun, without any protection from those animals. We ask this question, why is Zain al-Abidin not able to raise his hands in dua? Is there something preventing him? Yes, my brothers and sisters, what is preventing Imam Zain al-Abidin are those chains that are put on his hand. He cannot even move his hands to raise them into the sky and to ask for dua. And this is the treatment that these people who claim to be Muslim were given to the family of Rasulullah. There comes a point, those of you who have gone for ziyarah of Halab, you know this. There came a point that when this caravan was taken to Damascus, it was taken from the back roads. It was taken from those places where people would not see, because then Banu Umayyah knew that if the Ahlul Bayt reached, then they would tell them their story. There came a place in Halab when one of the wives of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, she was pregnant, but the enemies did not allow this child to be born safely. So this child was born, but he was born as a stillborn, and he is buried over there. Someone asked this question to Imam Sadiq, and Imam Sadiq, he cried and he wept. He says, then the child will be asked, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ, for what sin it was killed. Then the Imam said, they are two Mohsin. They are not just one Mohsin. One Mohsin was that son of Fatima az-Zahra, who she lost when she was attacked. The other Mohsin is that Mohsin of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, who was become shaheed there in Syria, and he is buried over there. My brothers and sisters, imagine that land when the Ahlul Bayt are traveling, when the small daughter of Imam Hussein is asking for her Baba. She says, I am used to sleeping on the chest of my father Hussein, but when I ask for Hussein, the only thing that Shimmer gives me is that he smacks me. He does not allow me to drink any water. father. He does not allow me to sleep comfortably. And we hear this young girl calling Baba, Baba. They say, why is she crying so much? Who is she calling for? Bring the head of Imam Hussein to her. A time comes in the prison. A time comes in the prison of Damascus, that this daughter of Hussein, this daughter Sakina or Sukaina of Hussein is weeping and crying for her father. Sayyidah Zainab is trying to calm her down. Imam Zain al-Abidin says, Sukaina, stay quiet. You will find peace very soon. She says, no, she's only 5 or 6 years old. She says, I miss my father so much. This news gets to Yazid. He says, take this head to her, take the head of her father, maybe she will stop crying, maybe she will stop weeping. They bring the head of Imam Hussein to this young girl. Her eyes fall on the face of her father. She begins to cry. She says, Ya Abata, oh my father, I have missed you so much. She hugs the face of her father, and for a long time there is only calm and there is quiet. They go and they see. Sayyidah Zainab says, Zain al-Abidin, go and see your sister, how she is doing after she was able to hug the head of her father. He goes and he sees, he turns around, he says, oh my aunt Sayyidah Zainab, inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Sukaina has passed, she is gone from this world. And Imam Zain al-Abidin prepares to bury the daughter of Imam Hussein in the prison of Sham. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Sayyalamu alladhina dhalamu ala Muhammadin ayyi munqalibi yanqalibun. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.